Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Durrett's Take on a Wonderful Monday. Let's get started. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss what happened over the weekend. So let's get started. So the NBA now is concerned about the restart in Orlando due to the recent coronavirus spikes up in Florida, among other states as well. Um, so if I'm Adam Silver, I'm not sure if this is possible, but something that they should consider is they should consider relocating to a different state. Because there are some states that are pretty good about not having a lot of coronavirus cases, and are doing pretty well right now. I would say Las Vegas is the perfect destination, but Nevada is actually one of those states that's been having a lot of recent coronavirus spikes, so that probably wouldn't be the best case scenario after all, unless if it goes down really quick, and in that case we can go there. But other than that, here are the top 5 to 6 options in my opinion. Some of these states are combined together because they're right next to each other. So number 1, Idaho. I finished up school here in Idaho, and there hasn't been too many cases up here. Everything's been pretty chill. We're on phase 4. And I feel like they can easily go to Boise State, and they can be able to have people stay in hotels there and be able to play at Boise State's gym. I mean, Boise State's gym, I believe, has been used at least a few times, so like March Madness, so it could be used for that, and it could be used for an NBA playoffs as well. I mean, you're not gonna have any fans there, or if you do, it's limited, so it doesn't matter anyways. Now it's kind of inconvenient for a lot of the other teams to fly all the way there, but I mean, if they can fly to Vegas, if they were gonna fly to Vegas before they decided to do Orlando instead, then they can fly to Idaho. Plus, you're making all the West teams fly to Orlando, so I mean, I'm not really concerned about that. And then also, if you want to look a little bit eastern, I believe you can go to Spokane, which is the border of Washington State in eastern Washington, and play at Gonzaga. That's technically an option as well, if they don't want to do Boise. But basically, that's kind of a common option right there. Another option is to do either Montana or Wyoming, because both of those states haven't had a lot of cases either, and I believe their capital city at least can hold playoffs or finished regular season in a gym there and have enough hotels there to make that a possibility. Now it's more out in the middle of the country, but I mean it can work. Third is North or South Dakota. So these two states can easily host the playoffs. Now, and this one, even though it's out in the middle of nowhere, at least this one's kind of more of a central location since it's like at the top, but like in the middle of the United States. So again, that one could be an option. 4 is West Virginia. So West Virginia hasn't had a lot of cases to begin with. Like they were one of the last people to report cases. So I feel like if you go to Morgantown there and play at West Virginia, like you can be able to host something there maybe, and that's an East Coast option. 5th is Utah. So Utah has been doing pretty good recently, not having too many cases. In Utah, at least you can go to Salt Lake City and play in an actual NBA arena for the regular season / playoffs. It doesn't have to be at a college arena per se. It could be at the Jazz arena. So and there's plenty of hotels there and stuff, and it's only 7 hours away from Vegas, which is one of the places they were considering. So it's like it's perfect. Like in my opinion, that's the best case scenario if you do have to move it from a bigger city like Orlando. I feel like that's the best case scenario. And then the last option is maybe you can keep it with one of those bigger states like Texas or Florida, California, even though they have a lot of the cases, but you'd have to pick a very small town where the cases are so few. And for that one, I can't, there's too many towns or small cities to list, so I wouldn't be able to say which ones would work. But just like a big state, but a small city / town can be an option, I believe. So hopefully this may all blow over within a month, so that way they can just start on like plan. But if they can't, and they do, then it's either consider those options or just give up on returning. So let's move on. So some unfortunate news in college football is that there's been a few teams that's been getting a lot of athletes or staff members with the coronavirus cases, like Clemson and LSU and Kansas State. Some of them having over 10, some of them even have over 20 cases. So this is a little bit alarming because the NCAA committee has just approved that restart plans to get the season started on time. I am a little bit concerned, but hopefully, I mean, we all knew the second wave was going to come at some point. I just thought it was going to come in the fall. But if this happens to be the second wave, then I'm totally fine with this. And you'd rather have the second wave now and be over with versus coming in the middle of the football season and ruin everything. Now, if things don't change in a month and things are still bad or even worse, and it looks like this is just the beginning of the second wave and it gets worse, and then, okay, I'm going to be alarmed and concerned. But if things are better by then hopefully this was just a second wave and we can move on. So big news came out at the end of last weekend. So Jamal Adams for the Jets is requesting a trade because he's unhappy with the contract extension, and also, I mean, it's the Jets. I wouldn't blame him for getting traded. Now I'm not sure if their GM Joe Douglas is going to trade him because they don't have to, but it would be wise to trade him, because if you can't agree on a contract extension, then he's just going to leave him a free agency and you're going to get nothing for him. So I would trade him. Now the problem is the teams that he wants to get traded to are really good. So if Joe Douglas is smart, you trade him to a bad team. But we'll trade him to a bad team or average team, but then get good compensation for him. So that way you don't have to make an elite team already that much more elite. But let's get started. So there are 7 teams that were on Jamal Adams' list. Let's start with Baltimore. All I gotta say is, wow, the defense is already super good as it is, and if you just plug in Adams, then it's going to be very hard for Patrick Mahomes to get out of the division. Now, in my opinion, I believe they would have to trade safety for safety, so I believe Earl Thomas would get traded to the Jets. And Earl Thomas is a good safety, but it's a little bit more of an upgrade with Adams. So I mean that could happen, and that would make it much more harder for Patrick Mahomes to win the conference. So I would be surprised if that were to happen. The next one's the Cowboys. So this one makes a lot of sense. First of all, he's from Texas, so home is home. Like it's good for him. Second of all, the Cowboys actually really need a good safety. Unlike Ravens right now, where they're just fine, or 49ers right now, just fine. They actually, like, Cowboys need a really good safety. Now, as far as trading pieces go, the Cowboys not lost. They'd have to give a first-round pick, which they already did recently with Amari Cooper. But I mean, to get Adams, I feel like it would be worth it. Okay, next one is the Houston Texans. Now, this one looks good on paper because Texans could use a safety and they have a pretty good defense to begin with and a pretty good team overall. But I don't trust Bill O'Brien as a GM. I just don't trust him. So if I were Adams, I wouldn't want to go there because I'm not sure if my team's going to be good or not with him as GM. The next one is the Chiefs. All I'm going to do is say this: if the Chiefs get Jamal Adams, you can pencil them in to the Super Bowl and probably as champions. They would kind of be like the Warriors when they got KD. Like, just pencil them in. They're just going to be too unstoppable because their offense is already good, but their defense, while it's pretty good, does have some feels. But like, if you get a safety like Jamal Adams, and they already have good safeties, and that just solves a lot more problems. I'm not sure if Andy Reid will do this, but if I'm Andy Reid, I would do everything I could to make it a very easy 3 to 4 years for Patrick Mahomes to keep on winning, because this roster ain't gonna stay the same forever. So the time is now to keep on winning. The next one is the Eagles. So in my opinion, this is the second worst option. While Philadelphia could use a safety and their defense is good and they're a pretty good team and stuff, the one problem is that Carson Wentz gets injured too much. And if at some point he gets injured during the regular season or playoffs or whatever, and he has to roll in the backup, then they're just going to put a lot of pressure on Adams and the Eagles' defense in general. If I'm Jamal Adams, I want the quarterback on the opposite side of me to be really talented and and preferably injury prone, like doesn't get injured a lot, so that way I can be able to do my part and not have too much pressure relied on me and my defense. The next one is the 49ers. Again, if Jamal Adams goes here, this is not like the Chiefs. Basically, just pencil them in as the Warriors. And this one's actually funny because they're in San Francisco, so they're actually where the Warriors are located. So it's actually an exact replica. But anyways, just pencil them in as a Super Bowl. Now, I'm not going to pencil them in necessarily as Super Bowl champions every year, because they do have to go up against either Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes. And Jimmy G, while he's a good quarterback, he's not like a top 5 quarterback in my opinion. So there is a little tiny bit of weakness there. But just basically pencil them as a Super in the Super Bowl every year. Like, it's just going to be unfair with already that good defense, and not only good defense, but young defense for the most part. So that'd be very good. The last one is Seattle. So I actually said this a while back. I forgot. It was like 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago, when I was talking about Jamal Adams maybe going to get traded somewhere. That Seattle would be, like, the Cowboys would be like the perfect fit for him, in my opinion. Seattle's defense is pretty good, but their secondary needs an upgrade, which Jamal Adams can provide. And then also on the other side of the ball, his quarterback's gonna be Russell Wilson, who's one of the best quarterbacks ever. Now, of course, Patrick Mahomes is a good quarterback, stuff like that, but like Russell Wilson doesn't really ever gets injured. He's a good quarterback. Now you're gonna play in a tough division, which you have to consider. But I feel like I just feel like Seattle's already a Super Bowl contender. They can just put in Adams there, and then they're good to go. Basically, they won't be exactly like the Legion of Boom. They can get even closer and closer back to the way their defense was, and then if they can get back to Jamal Clowney, and then Ezekiel Ansah could be able to stuff like that. They already got Bobby Wagner and stuff, and other players as well, that they're just going to be set for the future. I feel like if Adams goes there. Now here are my rankings of. Here's my order rankings of the list that I prefer. This is me prefer where Jamal Adams goes to versus where he should. So number one, since I'm a Cowboys fan, I'm going to put him with the Dallas Cowboys. Second is Seattle. Like I said, I feel like Seattle's a good fit there. I'm kind of a Seattle fan as well. Third is Kansas City. Him with Patrick Mahomes and in that team, that would be super awesome to see. Now, of course, it would be no contest, so that takes away the competitiveness of every season, unless of course Chiefs get some injuries and stuff like that. Then it could become, which football that happens, so you can't rule it out 100%. But I mean, that would be pretty much easy. 4 is Baltimore. Lamar Jackson, I feel like for a while he's probably going to continue to have those playoff struggles. So it's really going to be good to have the defense be even more elite with Adams in the back. So I feel like that'd be a good fit there. 5 is Houston. 6 is San Francisco, because I just don't really want him to go to already good, like, elite defense, because San Francisco, in my opinion, is one of the best defenses in the league. And then last is Philly. Obviously, the rivals there. I don't want to go to Philly at all. But as far as the teams that make the most sense for Adams to go to, one, the most sense is to go to Kansas City. So you can just go win a Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes. The second most option that makes sense is San Francisco. You can go at least to the Super Bowl and be competitive there. Third is Baltimore, for reasons I've already said. 4 is Seattle. 5 is Dallas. 6 is Philly. And 7 is Houston. So again, it'll be interesting to see, A, if he gets traded to these teams. B, if he gets traded to some other team, or C, even if he gets traded at all. So it'll all be interesting to see what happens over the next little bit. So that's it for my show today. Please subscribe to my channel. Please tell everyone about me. Thank you very much, and you all have a wonderful day. Thank you very much.